What it do, homies? Today we're about to check out the O.J. Simpson chase. I was 4 years old when this happened, so I have no knowledge about the details of the chase. I know there was one. I know the Bronco case. I know about his trial, but that's pretty much it. So let's go ahead, shut up, and turn it up.
1994, news reporters from all over Los Angeles raced to one specific location, pointing their cameras to capture a very brief moment. A moment that will probably be only a few seconds long. The location is the LAPD headquarters in downtown Los Angeles. And at around 11 a.m., over 1,000 journalists are gathered at the entrance. The moment they want to capture is the perp walk of O.J. Simpson, who any minute from now will be placed in handcuffs right here.
O.J. Simpson.
In the mid-90s, this was about as big a media spectacle as one can imagine.
Perhaps the greatest running back of all time.
O.J. Simpson was known as one of the most successful football players of all time. And besides his football career, he had made a name for himself as a media personality, appearing as a sports commentator, movie actor.
Like all of this right here, movie actor, sports commentating, everything, all of this is 100% lost on me. I know nothing about O.J. Simpson before the trial because this pretty much overtaken anything. Oops.
Actor, and in several commercials.
Pioneer's New Country Spicy Chicken.
And not only would he be placed in custody, it would also be for one of the most serious crimes imaginable, as O.J. Simpson was the main suspect in a double homicide investigation.
Sorry for the dog.
5 days earlier, in the Brentwood area of Los Angeles, 2 dead bodies were found. The victims were Nicole Brown and Ron Goldman, murdered in front of Brown's apartment. Nicole was O.J. Simpson's ex-wife, who for many years had been harassed by her former partner, both during the marriage as well as afterwards. O.J. is said to have regularly stalked her as well as been violent towards her.
Like domestic abuse.
Get someone over here now to 325 Gretna Green. He's back. Please.
Well, okay, what does he look like?
He's O.J. Simpson. I think you know his record.
The second victim, Ron Goldman, was a friend of Brown's, and he just happened to be at Brown's apartment that night to drop off something she had forgotten.
Dang.
Traces of a perpetrator's blood were discovered at the crime scene, and this evidence was incriminating O.J., who became the main suspect. Based on this evidence, the police decided to arrest O.J. Simpson.
The Los Angeles County District Attorney has just filed murder charges against Orenthal James O.J. Simpson.
Due to his fame and previous cooperation with the police, it was assumed that there was no risk of an escape. After all, a famous celebrity like that wouldn't go on the run, they thought. And so, an agreement between the police and O.J.'s lawyers was made, allowing him to turn himself in at the police station, leading to this crowd of reporters. But this is where things go differently.
Dang, that's kind of crazy that you can even like normal, that type of stuff isn't even accessible to like normal people being able to, or at least I don't think so, come to an agreement, lawyers, to turn yourself in when you got like you have to have like a huge reputation because you don't want to be arrested.
Time passes, and after more than 2 hours, the reporters are suddenly asked to come inside the building. Not knowing why, they are stunned to hear the police statement.
The Los Angeles Police Department right now is actively searching for Mr. Simpson.
Oh, so he didn't turn himself in.
With O.J. not showing up, police started heading his way. O.J. Simpson had spent the night and morning in the San Fernando Valley, at the house of lawyer Robert Kardashian, with whom he maintained a long friendship. In addition to Simpson's legal team, there were also several doctors present, as well as Al Collins, O.J.'s former football teammate and a childhood friend. When the police officers arrived, they first met O.J.'s lawyers, who were agreeing to O.J. calming down to be arrested.
We greeted them. They were very polite and courteous. They told us that they would follow normal procedure.
It's no relation to Ben Shapiro, right?
And take him to the police station, and they agreed that we would be able to accompany him. At that time, it was suggested that Dr. Fairstein go up and tell him that he was going to be transported in handcuffs into custody. It was at that time when Dr. Fairstein went in the room to alert him that we discovered for the first time that OJ was not present. Al Cowlings was not present.
With the two men gone, the only thing that was found in the room were 3 letters that OJ left behind, which to most people seemed to indicate that he was planning on taking his own life. One letter was addressed to his children, the other to his mother, and one to the general public. A letter which Robert Kardashian read aloud to reporters only a few hours later.
I think of my life and feel I've done most of the right things. So why do I end up like this?
One thing. So Robert Kardashian, right? Yeah, Kardashian. So I imagine the whole entire family was, I guess they were super popular because they were successful lawyers, right? Well before Kim Kardashian made her debut with the tape with RJ, right? That's what I'm thinking, that they were already famous. Or were they kind of so-so until this trial? That's my question.
Of the right things. So why do I end up like this? I can't go on.
One of the most famous personalities in the city and the country has disappeared, and almost at the same time as the police, thousands of reporters became aware of it and head on a search. It is the beginning of a race of who can track down O.J. Simpson first. What no one knows at this point is that O.J. is not hiding in any home, but is on the road. At this time, O.J. is sitting in the passenger seat of a white Ford Bronco, while Cowlings, who owns the car, is driving, heading down south on the 405 freeway.
Why not the back?
The destination they picked is the Ascension Cemetery, located in Orange County, a place where the two of them had been to only a few hours earlier. On June 16, the day before this escape, the funeral of Nicole Brown Simpson took place right here. Even though there were already increasing doubts about O.J.'s innocence at the time, as the ex-husband of the victim, he attended the memorial service.
The mourning ex-husband, the grieving father, the focus of a murder investigation.
Now, a day later, O.J. wanted to go back to her grave, presumably to harm himself right there. When the two arrive at the cemetery, they realize that it will not be possible to go to the gravesite without being recognized.
Did you go to her grave?
Yes. Well, we never made it there because there was a police car blocking the entrance.
They wouldn't let you in?
Well, AC saw him and avoided going in.
Unsure on what to do next, Cowlings parks the car near the cemetery. According to his own statement, O.J. wanted to wait for the police to leave so he could still go to the grave. While they were waiting, they turn on the radio, and they notice that there are reports on almost all frequencies about a large-scale search for the two. Presumably, in order not to be recognized, O.J. now moves from the passenger seat to the back seat and lies down.
You should have did that from the beginning.
He instructs Cowlings to drive back up north, heading to his house, with the goal of meeting his mother there.
I mean, it's possible that he's going to say this later, but was that his plan, to off himself at the cemetery?
Knowing that there is an active manhunt for him, O.J. Simpson then decides to call the police himself, who immediately trace the call to determine where it's coming from. The signal appears to originate near the El Toro Y interchange.
Attention all units and stations for Station 18 per LAPD. Attempt to locate 187 suspect. Southbound 5 freeway from El Toro at 1646 hours. In a white 1993 Ford Bronco, possible plate 3 Delta Hotel Yankee.
They knew that. All of that.
503.
With this information, it doesn't take long until the first police car spots the vehicle.
241, I'm behind it. Occupied by a male black. Northbound 5, north of Red Hill.
Journalists all across LA were listening into police radio, and soon the first news chopper finds the chase and goes live on air.
Subject has stopped. The past stop, just past 17th northbound I-5.
Here 18315, we have a traffic break northbound I-5, just north of 307. He's continuing now. He is continuing.
And here we go.
Though Cowlings doesn't stop, he also doesn't try to outrun the police, traveling a mere 30 miles per hour. Due to the slow speed of the chase and the fact that no new cars can catch up from behind the police, the traffic around the Bronco drops significantly.
They seem to have cleared the freeway pretty much like they do when you see a presidential motorcade.
However, things are completely different in the airspace over the highway, where more than 9 different news helicopters are now broadcasting the chase to homes and sports bars all across the nation. As Cowlings continues to follow the highway, he then calls 911, trying to negotiate with the police.
911, what are you reporting? This is AC. I have OJ in the car. Okay, where are you? Please, I'm coming up the 5 freeway. Okay. Right now, we are okay, but you gotta tell the police to just back off. He's still alive, but he got a gun to his head. What's your name? My name is AC. You know who I am, goddammit. Okay.
I was about to say.
Alrighty, sir. Hold on just a moment.
News repair. I mean, I get it. He's pretty much just following protocol and everything, but at this point, it's everywhere, right? And you probably got people calling in 911 probably all day. People calling them saying, "Hey, I think that something that happens like when they know somebody's like really famous, and then you have all like prankster calls and stuff like that, saying, "Hey, I seen OJ here. Hey, I seen OJ there." So I imagine that probably was like his 100th call. So he probably was just going through protocol, but AC's reaction.
Hi, what's your name? Hello?
The information that OJ is armed increases the danger.
Regional 710 for a cop could not see in the window of the vehicle.
And the LAPD tries to take advantage of the fact that there are cameras pointed at the car from nearly all directions, cooperating with the news choppers to try to get a better look at the situation.
Okay, what we're doing is we've asked the police department, they can't see through the windows, and we're allowed to shoot a picture through the windows to see if indeed he is back there with the gun.
Meanwhile, the Bronco leaves Interstate 5 and turns onto California State Route 91, heading west. Increasingly, onlookers are flocking to the side of the road, watching the chase in person. Years earlier, OJ was part of a well-known advertising campaign for the car rental company Hertz, appearing in ads where he runs through an airport terminal while being cheered on by onlookers. Now, many are shouting this slogan, "Go, OJ, go," to the white Ford Bronco as it races past them, followed by the police. The chase has the entire country hold its breath. As it is Friday,
I guess you're kind of getting caught up in the moment. That's kind of crazy, cheering and everything, especially considering what he's on trial for, like murder. But I guess it's just in the excitement, just sitting there cheering, one of those historic events where you knew you just had to be there. So that's kind of crazy to all the people cheering.
The chase has
not anybody. Well, I guess you don't want to get involved, but nobody tried to stop him or anything like that. I guess that makes sense, right? Why put yourself in harm's way?
Entire country hold its breath. As it is Friday evening with several major sporting events taking place, TV viewership is already quite high. Now, OJ's chase catapults this to a completely new level. Sports broadcasts were either paused completely or relegated to a small frame at the edge of the screen. Some sports commentators who personally knew OJ even took the opportunity to appeal to him directly, encouraging him to give up. No game on a sports field could surpass the excitement of what was currently taking place on the streets of Los Angeles. For comparison, the most watched television event of that year, 1994, was the Super Bowl in January with 90 million viewers, which actually was the 3rd most viewed Super Bowl ever at the time. But the OJ chase sets a new record. If you take the various broadcasts together, 95 million Americans are watching this chase. Looking at history, this means it was the 6th most watched broadcast on US television till that point. Which is especially remarkable considering that almost all other events on this list were announced and advertised weeks and months prior. while this event happened on the spot.
You know what's crazy about this is that if something like this was to happen right now, 1994 technology wasn't where it is now. Now that everybody got, almost everybody, I mean, you can get a smartphone these days for on the cheap. That's probably like tripled by now, right? And not only that, but now we have the ability to stream ourselves. Oh yeah, that today's, if you added in today's technology, where y'all think that would be? That's like at least, that's probably, I mean, they will be counting social media stuff too, like Facebook, Instagram, right? I assume TikTok, I assume they're counting that, including streams of self streams. Oh yeah, that's at least quad that.
Meanwhile, the white Ford Bronco turns again and switches to Interstate 405, now heading further north.
241 is indicating that he is making a cell phone call.
Knowing that OJ is using a cell phone while driving, LAPD detective Tom Lang remembers that he had written down OJ's number and decides to call it. To his surprise, OJ picks up.
Yeah, just let me get to my house. Okay, we're gonna do that. I swear to you, I'll give you me, I'll give you my whole body. Okay. I just need to get to my house. Okay. We're gonna do that. Just throw the gun out the window. I can't do that. We're not gonna bother you. We're gonna let you go up there. Just throw it out the window, please. You're scaring everybody. OJ, you there?
They're gonna do that. That's his insurance.
As OJ and Cowlings approach the Brentwood neighborhood where OJ's house is located, the car leaves the freeway and makes its way through the more narrow streets. On the phone, Lang tries to calm down a dangerous OJ Simpson, repeatedly mentioning his children and his family.
You're listening to me, I know you. You're thinking about your kids right now, aren't you? Aren't you? They're thinking about you. They're thinking about you. So is your mother. Your mother loves you. I'm the only one that deserves. No, you don't deserve that. Get hurt. You do not deserve to get hurt. You do not deserve to get hurt. Don't do this. All I did was love Nicole. All I did was love her. I understand. I love everybody. I tried to show everybody my whole life that I love everybody. We know that, and everybody loves you.
Lang increasingly flatters the celebrity and makes it about OJ himself, calling him by his football nickname, the Juice.
Juice, don't give in now. You've been a man all your life. You're admired. Don't give it up.
So the interesting thing about this is that, age-old question, if you are not guilty, then why run? And I do know that later, and he was acquitted. But all of these charges, right? He must have just had to pay a fine, because I can't remember if he did time behind bars for this chase right here, outside of, what he was being charged with, these additional charges he's racking up.
At 7:57 p.m., still unstopped by the police, the Ford Bronco arrives at OJ's house. Cowlings pulls into the driveway and parks. As they come to a stop, Jason, OJ's son, runs straight towards the car, seemingly shouting through the driver's window.
All right, who is that out there? Just toss it, Juice.
The police officers who were in the house were worried that this could escalate the situation, and they step in to lead Jason away from the car. On the call audio, you can now hear Cowlings as he is trying to stop OJ from harming himself.
Oh, he actually had a gun.
If there is anyone at this point who still doubts that the extremely cautious approach by the police throughout this chase is atypical to how LAPD operated at that time, what happens next will make it clear. Over a period of 15 minutes, negotiations between the car and police take place. Occasionally, Cowlings even steps out of the car, shouting at officers who seem to approach them. Ultimately, they come to an agreement. OJ will surrender himself, but on his own terms.
All right, so atypical to what they normally would do. You mean like, I guess like celebrity treatment, if you will, or maybe it's because, he had a gun to his head, right? What else would you do if this was just any other normal person that was on this? The thing is that they had the call. Yeah, so there's a whole lot of factors in here. The fact that they were able to talk to him personally. If it was just, so that's why, right? That it was atypical. Okay.
And OJ will surrender himself, but on his own terms. He leaves the car and is allowed to go into the house, where his lawyers also arrive. Here, OJ is allowed to drink a glass of orange juice and have a phone call with his mother.
Celebrity privilege.
Only then he's being handcuffed and placed into a police car, heading to the LAPD Parker Center to be placed in custody. The chase has come to an end. Besides working on this story, I recently spent a lot of my time crafting a video about a completely different escape attempt. Not a chase where someone tries to escape the law, but instead a captivating story about trying to escape an oppressive regime. Back when Germany was a divided country with a brutal border strip that...
Yes. The only reason why I know about this was about the Berlin Wall, right? I think the only reason why I know about this is because of the fat electrician.
Back when Germany was a divided country with a brutal border strip that made it impossible to flee from the East German dictatorship, two families came up with an insane plan.
Yeah, so if you guys see I think it's like 30 minutes long. Very interesting story that they put up that wall, or they changed, I'm paraphrasing, they changed some of the laws to where you couldn't cross over to the, from east to west, you couldn't cross over. So there were family members that worked on one side but lived on the other that got trapped. They couldn't see their family members no matter what. So people came out with really, really creative ways of getting over it. Some of the stories that I've heard and some of the stuff that I went to further read after I got done watching that video, very, very intriguing.
They decided to build their own homemade hot air balloon and would risk their lives to try to fly to freedom. I am immensely proud of this documentary I produced, for which I even got to interview Günther Wetzel, one of the men building the balloon. This video is part of my ongoing Nebula Original series Underexposure, a series where I create higher budget documentaries.
That's pretty cool.
Apart from the balloon escape, I created a film about the Bin Laden raid, detailing exactly how the US military operation on this compound unfolded. Or my documentary about the crash of Flight MH17. These are videos that are not made for the YouTube algorithm, but unrushed storytelling. And all of them are available right now on Nebula, which is a streaming platform that I'm building together with other educational creators.
That's awesome.
And since Nebula is a subscription service, it allows us to use higher budgets and create our dream projects.
That's really cool. You know, I hear from a lot of YouTube gurus that you need to be platform agnostic. Is that the word, right? To kind of have your eggs in multiple baskets. And with YouTube being one of the most, one of the most watched social media, it's kind of hard to get away from that, right? Because, they own Google, the search result, SEO, all of it kind of drives it to YouTube. But being able to take that off and start your own business, start your own channel, that's huge. Congrats to you, man. That's
my favorite shows across the board are on Nebula. They're entertaining, but since we mostly are educational creators, there's also just so much to learn at the same time. And I am extremely happy with what my original series has become. So go to nebula.tv/neo.
No, that's really cool. And honestly, between the metal band Sabaton and the Fat Electrician, I didn't really care too much for history. It wasn't really my strong suit, but the amount of stuff that I've learned from these documentaries is absolutely amazing, especially when it's well crafted like this. And I know he said with the budget, those 3D rendering, I used to major, and 3D art and animation, I used to teach it for a little bit, does take time. All of those graphics and everything takes time, and everything looks extremely smooth. So cool on you for your site that you got going on. I wish many success. It looks like it's probably been around for a while, but let me know some more details about this O.J. Simpson chase that Neo did not cover. Dave's out.